Great question. The city, the question raised was the city is millions of dollars behind or unfunded in its fiscal budget for roads. Roads are important to the city, but the basic need that comes from we have bonds, we have other things that pay for that. I would believe that we could utilize the funds that we have available within our city as long as we were able to cut other areas or possibly just watch where other areas are being wasted and find inefficiencies for that. Yield the rest of the time for Mayor LIBA.
Road infrastructure is arguably the most important issue that we're dealing with right now in city government. We've been dealing with it on a continuous basis. We've gone to the legislature for authority to use different mechanisms to fund roads, and we've gotten that authority. We've applied now stimulus money plus additional city money in the amount of $16 million to rehabilitate roads this last year and this coming year. We've rehabilitated 12 miles of roads. This year there will be another 8 miles of roads rehabilitated next year. Beyond that, I'll be working with the Chamber of Commerce and with LIBA and with all of the groups involved to develop a financing plan for going forward into the future. I think that plan probably involves a series over a long period of time of smaller bond issues approved by the people, directing the additional road money to that particular purpose. Again, I will be going back to the people of the city and to all of the constituent groups to see what it is that they would like to do and on what scale.
I would like to add that we need to, who amongst us, if you want to raise your hands, you can, feel like our roads are where they need to be. I don't believe they are. I believe we need to take a real hard look at addressing the roads quickly and as a matter of factly.
Again, I would just repeat that road infrastructure is high on the priority list and has been, and we have been taking consistent action in that particular area, as well as all different areas that relate to economic development and infrastructure that's important to economic development, including expanding the sewer system on the east side of Lincoln, down the Stevens Creek area, so that that whole area is ready for development. And we've brought in another major transmission line, water transmission line, to increase the capacity of the city by 60%.
Our next speaker is John Courtney, and it first goes to the mayor.
State cuts in Camel to the local government fund, the fund that goes to local municipalities and natural resource districts. It looks like that will not be funded whatsoever in state government. That has brought suggestions statewide from municipalities that it might force tax increases on the local level. Is that the time you've been thinking about suggesting that to the taxpayers?
No, I mean, I'm not in any mode at this particular point in time for looking at raising taxes. But there are a whole number of things going on that we need to think about and we need to consider. Certainly, we just talked about the need for road infrastructure. At the same time, the legislature is removing state aid. At the same time, the legislature is having trouble dealing with the CIR, which you know I have been an advocate of scaling back in terms of prerogatives that are driving up our labor costs within the city. But the approach I'm going to take is the same approach that I've taken for 4 years. We're going to look at cutting. We're going to look at reorganizing. I've cut 120 jobs over the last 4 years, more than any other administration in history. We have reorganized in a dozen different areas. We will look at delaying making expenditures. We will look at reducing personnel costs within the limitations that we have. We will always look first to scaling down government to meet our revenues.
The question that was asked was basically, would we cut and where would we cut those things for the legislature? I would believe that we need to take a hard look at our current budget right now. Our current budget is a staggering $134 million. We need to look at our budget and take a hard look at where are the wastes happening. I believe that we could probably go back through and reevaluate through self-audit, lots of funds that could be opened up for other purposes. We have a $1.8 million cut coming with the state. However, I would like to remind us that it seemed like we could find money for an Experian building, so I really believe that we will do fine with this $1.8 million cut. It is about a 1.2%, so I don't think that that's going to be too much of an issue.
30 seconds.
Let me say with regard to the budget, we have had the most open process that this city has ever had with the budget. We called it our taking charge process. Every year we've had surveys, we've had scientific surveys, we've had other kinds of more in-depth surveys, asking citizens, imploring citizens, drawing citizens into the budget process. And we've engaged citizens in all-day meetings on the budget. So we will continue to connect to the people of the city and give them the kind of budget that they want.
We have had new taxes and things brought into our budget, and that's where the concern lies with, I think, most taxpayers and voters.
Our next question, I'm not even going to use that. Our next question from Charlie, and it goes to Tammy Bucking.
During the current four-year term, the city has formed the Development Services Center and has taken steps to establish a new public works campus in the former Experian building. To the mayor, do you plan any other major departmental reorganization, consolidation, or relocation on that scale in the coming 4 years? To Mrs. Buffington, would you carry out the public works relocation to the Experian building as currently planned? And do you have any other similar projects in mind?
The question was asked that with the Experian building, what would I do with that? I guess in paraphrased fashion, right, Charlie? And then also, what would be, pardon me, repeat that first part of that question, Charlie. Please.
Would you carry out the public works relocation to the Experian building, and/or do you have any other similar projects in that scope in mind? Consolidation, reorganizations, or relocations?
I believe that the Experian building was a large purchase that we did not need. We only needed 23,000 square foot. We ended up with 350,000 square feet of building at the purchase of about $7 million. I believe that we need to rethink that. And I also think that we need to look at what would we do with that large of a building. Obviously, we need to move the public works area because of the new West Haymarket project that's coming in. However, I think that we really need to look at some options there. Do we want to rent some of that out? Do we want to try to sell other pieces of property that we have to make up for it? And I'll yield the rest of my time for Mayor Butler.
Well, let me say, I'm glad you brought up the Development Services Center because this gets into what I think I've done for the city big time. And that's create a positive, strong, pro-business atmosphere in this city that is not hype and is not mirrors and images. It's the real thing. It's authentic. We have taken four different departments, and we brought them together in one physical place, and we have physically created a business development center. And we get together, all of the people in all of the different departments now. The first time a developer comes in, we put them down in the same room, and we talk about all of the problems. And for the first time in a long, long time, I'm hearing time and again This process is much improved. This process is better than Omaha. This process is one of the best things going in this city. And it all relates to what we need to do for growth and for jobs and for development. And one project after another is going up in this city, and businesses are expanding right and left. In all of the polls, the national polls, not our local administration polls, but in all of the national polls, Lincoln is now listed as one of the top places to do business, one of the top places for entrepreneurs, one of the top places for finding jobs. It's consistent, it's real, and it's because we're doing things in the administration and the community's doing things, and we're all working together.